Was great to hear from Dinkar sir, who has been also my senior at college, to give me this opportunity. So, without wasting much time, let's get on. Before we move on, uh, our topic is women empowerment. The topic of the webinar, of the sixth webinar of the KLE Society, is women empowerment. Uh, I don't think women need to be empowered. Being women, you're already empowered. We'll deal with this later. So, I would want a very interactive session from the students. So I would request whenever you have, I will be putting questions to you. So whenever you have more questions, please free to raise your hand or put your comments on the chat box. It's right here open with me. So can we have our first slide?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sharing, ma'am.
Should I move on?
Yes, ma'am, please do.
So our topic today is cybercrime against women and children. We are concentrating for women and children as it's the theme of the webinar, but I would also be discussing some of the relative cybercrimes which are happening. And after the lockdown and COVID era, we are forced in, we are not yet ready for the lockdown world, but virtual world, but we are thrown into it. So it's better when we are thrown into it to meet the challenges, understand them, educate ourselves, and then move forward. Second slide, ma'am, please. Internet is becoming the town square for the global village of tomorrow, said Bill Gates. What is internet today? Third slide, please. Internet is a very important phenomenon today. There is everywhere. We are everywhere. Do you know, anybody does know what is internet, or anybody who does not know what is internet? Will anybody be there like that?
Ma'am,
after lockdown, I think it's exactly everybody very, very crucially knows the importance of internet, I think.
Right. And you know, in lockdown, it has, the studies have shown that OTT platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and YouTube, and otherwise also, internet has seen a great influx. So, you know, yesterday we were going to school, we were attending classes, but today we are doing it on the laptop or on our phones or iPads. Even telemedicine, something like you can, for certain medicines, for certain consultations, it is also happening on virtual sessions. Counseling is happening on virtual sessions. Classes are happening on virtual sessions. Even, you know, people who are not doing money transactions or were wary of doing money transactions, even they were to some extent forced to do that, because you know that is faster, less hassle free, and it is actually the becoming like the norm today. So let's see a little bit of the world which was there before lockdown, and let's see a little world what was there after lockdown. So what is internet actually? Internet is it's a tool which connects you with the world at large. You don't need to travel outside. You just connect yourself to the internet, and you can, you know, people who were born in 80s, 90s, little older than that, or before that, would understand what was landlines were so important. Not everybody had landlines that time. Now, I think landlines are becoming obsolete. Mobile phones were a luxury at that time. I think everybody has mobile phones. I hardly know anybody who does not have mobile phones. In fact, you know, when I was in college, when I was doing my law, mobile phones were not allowed in our hostel. I don't know if it's there allowed today or not, but it wasn't allowed then. But I doubt anybody, any place which is not, where it is not, where internet interface is not present today. I got my first laptop after my first semester. And I didn't have phone in college. I only had a phone in law college because I was away from my hometown. So I needed to contact my parents. And that too also was not with me all the time. It was with my friends. Only when I was in college, I had my phone with me. So anyway, moving on. So whenever there is an interface of a transaction which is happening on internet, and any crime which is coming out of that, That is what is called as cybercrime. We all understand what is crime. Is there anybody who does not mean what is crime? Can I see some hands, please? Some yes, some no, something.
Yes, I can see some hands getting raised because the people are also getting there. They know what is the crime. They are giving the answers.
Very good.
Yeah.
So we all know what is crime. So just think of a crime which is happening in the virtual world. It will be a little different than the virtual world, because see, if we all know what is Section 378 under IPC, theft, right? But what is theft in the virtual world? Theft in the virtual world is somebody goes to your Facebook account and steals your data or takes out your picture. That is theft. Okay. So, as I said, that crimes which are happening on the internet, that is what is called cybercrimes. It can be internet, a network of computers, or computer as a tool. Computer as a tool for like malware attacks, Trojan horses, viruses. Those kinds of crimes are also cybercrimes. So, if you take the loose definition, anything or happening which is around the internet, all the crimes which are taking place are called cybercrimes. Now, India came up with internet. The first time internet was launched in India, India was not prepared. It was something which was thought and it was introduced. So early 90s, mid 90s, internet was introduced in India. At that time, computer was a luxury. So not all the households would have a computer. And if they would, internet would not be there. The first internet provider was MTNL. And there'll be a tooti tattoo sound which always used to come when you would connect. It was broadband LAN connection at that time. There was I don't know. A lot of people would be knowing, a lot of people won't be knowing what is LAN. Moving on. So the first act which came for dealing with this was Information Technology Act 2000. The result of this act was that things like datas, emails, this was all this was also incorporated in the other laws. Changes were made in IPC, Evidence Act, to understand what is to understand the fact of earlier it was not even, for some time it was emails were not considered as evidence, and a lot of things like a computer generated thing or PDF file was not considered as evidence. But if you go to courts today and you give in evidence of 65B, it is affidavit under section 65B of Indian Evidence Act, it is acceptable. But earlier when it came, it wasn't acceptable. So there are certain laws which deals with cybercrime. Information Technology Act deals with it. IPC deals with it. So Information Technology is the basic act which deals with it. So let's understand what is Information Technology Act's scope. It says the organized way of developing is to grow with a robust infrastructure in place. But the thing with India is that it plummeted with internet, but it wasn't prepared for it. So there are still a lot of infrastructural things which are needed in India. We'll discuss with it over the time. I would like to tell you what is the objective of the Information Technology Act. It is to provide legal recognition for transactions carried out by means of electronic data, interchange, and other means of electronic communication, commonly referred to as electronic methods of communication and storage of information, to facilitate electronic filing of documents with government agencies, and further to amend the Indian Penal Code, Indian Evidence Act, Reserve Bank of India, Bankers Book Evidence Act, for matters connected therewith and incidental thereto. This is, if you open the first page of the Information Technology Act, you will find it on the top. I just read it out to you to tell you that it facilitated more of economic transactions than crime. Because at that time we didn't know this crime, there is crime. But the criminals are very smart. They, you give them one thing, they take out another thing out of it. The crime is growing faster than the laws and the infrastructure. We need to balance it out, but for that, we also need prevention. And we need to be secure. We need to understand what is there. And today we'll be dealing with awareness also. Ma'am, can we have the next slide? So we all know that cybercrime is a global phenomenon, right? Ma'am, can you enlarge it a bit? Thanks. So there are a lot of cybercrimes. The first is harassment. Does anyone know what is harassment? A regular parlance harassment.
I request the participants to kindly put their answers in the chat box.
I beg your pardon.
Ma'am, I was requesting the participants to put their answers in the chat box.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So it seems a lot of people know what is harassment. So, harassment is giving anxiety to someone. It can be done through emails, it can be blackmailing, it can be threatening. But once internet is there, once you create a digital footprint, with internet you create a digital footprint. Okay, like old stalkers, what they used to do, they would slide letters, put them in your mailboxes. Anybody watches Crime Patrol here? Or any crime series?
Many must be watching, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of raised hands.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so I will not be telling you the legal definitions. I will be telling you definitions you'll understand and you'll remember for life.
Yes.
So if you have seen, there was this one episode where this guy would follow the girl. He would hide behind the tree. He would hide behind this. He would hide, instead of being attentive in the class, he would be constantly watching that girl. He would be watching who is the girl speaking to, what is she doing, where is she doing, and he would send her letters. And he was very creative. Okay, he would not write handwriting. He would cut out papers, alphabets, and he would paste the alphabets. Okay, so what is it causing? There are two crimes happening. One is stalking, regular stalking, okay, and one is harassment. So he's threatening her, he's blackmailing her, he's sending her emails. Instead of emails, this guy was sending her letters. So what we are doing is, we are understanding what is the crime, and then we're taking it to the virtual world. Virtual world is the cyber world, internet world. Okay, so when it is all happening on the internet, it is called harassment, cyber harassment. So it becomes an internet crime. Easy peasy. Should we go move on?
Yeah, many participants, they are actually defining the harassment, ma'am, which you had asked, and they know, they have actually, it's sad to say, but I won't mention the name, they have faced it personally also. So it's a sad scenario. It's a sad scenario, but yes, they all know.
I'm really feeling bad for, but can't. I would suggest you fight back it with the system. System is with you. I will tell you how. Most of you, then you might be knowing, but then you need to be very brave and you actually need to do it. We will answer this question, Ankita. Ankita, can you send this question to Amrita ma'am? Amrita ma'am will take this question in the Q&A session after.
Sure, ma'am, sure. Kindly, participants, please post your questions to the host, the KLE College of Law, where you can find out. Please post your questions there. It will be taken up during the question answer session. Thank you so much.
Cyberstalking. So, we just did harassment. I did tell you what is stalking. Stalking is basically following a person, forcefully entering their world. And sometimes cyberstalking, the thing with cyberstalking is, some people might not know that cyberstalking is actually taking place. They might not be aware of it. because not everybody is very savvy with it. We know how to use Facebook, but probably we don't know how to lock our accounts. We don't know how to restrict things, or we don't want to because we don't want to, whatever be the reason. So stalking is what? It is following a person's movement through the internet by posting messages in the chat rooms or emails, sending emails. It is the end cause. See, there is an intention and there is knowledge. Intention or knowledge are the two prime things for making out any crime, right? We all know the difference between actus rea and mens rea. Mens rea is there in all the crimes, especially cyber crimes. The better part in cybercrime is that there is a digital footprint created. No matter how smart the criminal is or the offender is, there is always a digital footprint which is created. He might be able to delete it from the servers, but we also have forensic experts who know how to catch it. It might take a little time, but ultimately the criminal is met with justice. Okay, so we understand what is cyberstalking. Should I explain it more? I'll give you an example. So what happens is there's a beautiful girl on Facebook. Okay, and the guy likes it. He does not have the courage to go and speak to her directly. So he finds out that if she's there on Instagram or Facebook or all of them, and he follows, who she meets. And if she's a very socially active person, he keeps a tab on her social life. This is what is cyberstalking. When a forensic expert is checking this thing, one of the corroborative evidence. I hope everybody knows what is corroborative evidence. One of the corroborative evidence in this case of stalking will be that the person who is visiting her profile every day is leaving his digital footprint, right? But like if he's visiting her home or if he's following her from a distance, you will need some CCTV camera footage. You will need some person who has seen him there every day to make your case good. But here, his digital footprint is already making it happen. Even if he's doing it from a fake profile, but ultimately through his IP address. IP address is something which, when internet is connected on your system, there is an IP address generated, which is a unique thing for everybody. So even if there are ways of bouncing IP address, but there are ways to get it also. So that is how the digital footprints can be traced back to a person. So when the police will be looking at such a case, they will be able to follow it to that person, and that's how the case of stalking will be there. Then cyber defamation. We understand what is our old age defamation. Our old scene of defamation was when you try to harm somebody's reputation, either through words or through messages or through print media or through vocal, or you do it to a public at large. So cyber defamation is also something similar. Like, again, I will give you an example of cyber defamation, again from Crime Patrol. What happened in one case was, there was this guy who wanted a girl, but the girl was already going around with somebody. So what he did was, he had her phone number. He put her phone number with some of her pictures, morphed pictures. Morphing is another crime. Morphing is, he took her photograph from a social media account and made it into a porn, adult, obscene, sex adulting kind of a photograph, and he put it on a website which will be soliciting sex or sexual favors, and people would bid on it. So he created a fake profile and he put her number there. So she would keep getting calls, and she was not understanding what is happening. So, after so much harassment for a month, she finally went to the police and complained. Police found out what was happening. This is smearing her good name. This is defamation. And there is another crime which is happening, which is called morphing. What is morphing? Morphing is taking your regular picture and taking a genuine piece, a genuine image, and using it for an illegal sexual obscene purpose, having a different connotation. Then there is child pornography. Child pornography is a very, very, very sad offense. I feel very bad for it because it's material depiction or transmission or publishing of children in a sexually explicit act in an electronic media. And it's going very well on dark web. People make a lot of money. Children get kidnapped. If anybody watches CSI, NY, Cyber, any of this NCI, not NCIS. Okay, I will give you a brief example. Anybody knows what is a pedophile? Michael Jackson was tried. There was a case going on against Michael Jackson as a pedophile. Pedophile is people who find who depict children in a sexual form. Okay, and when people use that on electronic media, that is also an example of child pornography. It is a very popular form on the dark web. There are two kinds of web. One is what we use on our everyday basis. The other one is hidden deep under. People hide their IP addresses and they use it for all the illegal means. Okay, then we move on to the next one. Up till now, is everybody on the same page as I am? Should I explain more?
Yes, ma'am. I think the page is visible to all.
Okay. Okay. So, do I need to explain anything? Should I move on to the next one?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can do. If there is any clarification they need, we can take up in the question answer session.
Okay. Yeah. Next one is cyberbullying. What is cyberbullying? Does anybody know what is bullying? Bullying is when a person there are two kinds of people, okay? One who are at the receiving end, the other one who are forcing them. So there was a very viral video on the internet in which a person who is stronger in the build is, bullying, putting force on the child who's smaller and little depressed, shy, to do their work, to do homework. This is a small example of bullying. A child who's like plays hockey and is very active on the other side, but that does not want to do homework, takes a very intelligent child who's not very socially active, very shy, keeps away from everybody to do his homework. This is a small example of bullying. But when it becomes aggressive, when it is causing harassment to somebody, then it is called as cyberbullying. In cyberbullying, why? Because it's happening again in the virtual world, electronic media, through computers, through internet, through mobile phones, through laptops, through iPads, something. Cyber grooming is another very depressing crime. What happens in cyber grooming is there is a person who does not say, let's say, I'll give you an example. Let's say I am Richa. Okay, I see a small child who is very shy. So I see that I can use this person to my benefit. So what I do is understand that person goes on internet every day. I find out which chat room or which places this person visits. So I initiate a conversation. I send a friend request under a fake profile. Fake profile is very important. I make friends with that person. Okay, has anybody seen the movie Rajma?
You can raise your hands, those who have watched the movie, or you can just type in the chat box.
Yes. So, in Rajma, what happened was Rishi Kapoor is the father. His son does not like him. So what he does is, he's given an idea by one of his friends to become a girl on Facebook and chat with his son like a girl. So he creates a fake profile of a girl and he talks to his son. So his son thinks that he's talking to an ex-girl who's obviously there, but the profile is fake. Okay? And he talks to that girl. If you invert it. So this guy is very impressed by the girl. The girl brings a lot of changes in him. It's actually Rishi Kapoor who's conversing with his son, but it seems to the son seems he's talking to a girl. Okay, just reverse the situation. There is an aggressor. Aggressor is a person who's in a dominant position to dominate a person. He wants to take benefit of a child. He has made a fake profile and he's talking to the child, being somebody else, and he's making the child, slowly and slowly he's building his relationship with the child so that he can exploit him for a sexual act the way he wants or she wants. So they are creating an online relationship with the child to do what they want. So that is an example of cyber grooming. Is cyber grooming? Please raise your hand if it's if you've understood what is cyber grooming. Please raise your hands. Can I see? Oh, cool. So we'll move on to sextortion. There are many more. I'm just limiting myself to some of the very common ones. Okay, sextortion is. There were episodes on Crime Patrol where guys have taken illicit videos or pictures of the girls and then are threatening them for extortion of money. If you take that in the virtual world, I recently got a case where the girl made friends with a guy. They moved on from WhatsApp chats to Snapchat. Now, there is a feature in Snapchat. The moment you see the picture or you read the message, the chat is deleted. The minute the person has seen it, it remains there for 30 seconds or so, and then it gets automatically deleted. You have to get it from their servers, maybe getting digitally stored there, but it does not get stored on your device. So they shared calls, they did a lot of activities like that. Then the guy said, I have your nude videos and your pictures. If you do not give me this much money, then I will put it online. It's not necessarily that it has to be shared. I think a lot of you must have gotten fake emails long back or even today that you've won 60,000 rupees, or threatening messages like emails or messages like, if you do not give me this, then your pictures and I know whatever you've been doing, I will put it online. Somebody must have seen or shared or get to know something like this, which is happening to people around us or to ourselves. So this is kind of an example of sextortion. When extortion happens for a sexual nature through messages, media, or using digital media, then it is called sextortion. Ma'am, can we have the next slide? So these are the most important crimes in the cyber laws. Now we'll deal with some important provisions. So the most important act in dealing with cyber laws is Information Technology Act. Section 43 of the Information Technology Act penalizes hacking into a computer network, damaging computer programs, denying access to an authorized person, or damaging, destroying destroying the information which is shared in the computer program, computer network. So what is computer program? Computer program is whatever software you have. Network of computers is for a large organization where there is a mother computer which is giving authority to all other computers, like in big corporates you have it. Computer network is your basic internet network. Internet networks can also be hacked. The punishment there is for 3 years and there is a fine up to 5 lakhs. Then we have section 66. It is related to computer related offenses, which the important thing to remember is there should be a concept of dishonest and fraudulent intention. Again, there is imprisonment which can extend up to 3 years with 5 lakhs fine or both. Then we have section 66A, which deals with sending of offensive messages through communication or sending any information to a computer or device, which is offensive. Information has to be known to be false and to cause some annoyance. And it can be sent through any electronic media, electronic email, iMessage, messages, WhatsApp, anything, Telegram, Snapchats, other Instagram DMs, and other things like that. Again, the punishment for that is 3 years with fine. Section 66A was called unconstitutional by a very famous case of Shreya Singhal versus Union India. But as of today, we are still having imprisonments under Section 66A. The punishment for dishonest, Section 66B deals with punishment for dishonest receiving stolen computer, resource, or communication device, which is again fine. So if anybody steals a computer or a computer device or a computer resource, again, what is important apart from the section is that it should be dishonest and fraudulent, should cause wrongful loss to somebody. Punishment is 3 lakhs, fine up to 1 lakh or both. Section 66C, identity theft. What is identity theft? My name is Richa. I am there as Richa on Facebook. Somebody morphed my picture, put it on their Facebook saying I am Richa. Or my name is changed. That is identity theft. My data are stolen. My emails are stolen. My email accounts are hacked. My identity on a LinkedIn or Facebook or any virtual media, Instagram is hacked, Twitter is hacked. That is identity theft. How it is, what are the important ingredients of this? Again, don't forget, dishonest, fraudulent, wrongful loss. You're not authorized to access, unauthorized access. In 66C, password, electronic signature, unique identifications. What are unique identifications? Anybody has an idea what are unique identifications?
Yes, you can give your responses in the chat box or you can raise your hands. Yes, Ashish Vashne is raising hand. Vipin Yadav is raising hand. I think they know it. They know it. Our participants are well knowledgeable. They know.
Then the session becomes more interesting. I'm scared of the questions now.
Okay.
Okay. Unique identification is something which is very unique to you. Like if there is a very unique name you've kept on your Instagram DP, or you have used it as your name, there's a line which comes under that. I don't know what it's called. So, if that is stolen or used by somebody else, that is also identity theft, apart from morphing pictures and everything. So, what is the punishment? 3 years of fine or both. 66D is punishment for cheating by using computer. Now, how do you cheat using computer? Any ideas? Few years back, I received an email from Maruti Suzuki that you have gained an employment with us for an administrative role in hospitality management. And please visit our office in, I think it was in Pitampura. You have to give us 10,000 in advance to make your staying purposes and tickets and travel tickets and everything. And I was wondering, I didn't apply to Maruti Suzuki. I didn't apply for this role. Plus, I'm living in Delhi, and this place is like 10 minutes away from my house. Why do I need to pay them 10 grand? So, as it turns out, this is a fake email. You take their money to giving them a guarantee that they're getting placed with such an awesome organization, because Maruti was doing very well 5 or 10 years back. This is exactly, I think, in 2010. So that is cheating. Do you think so? Can it be termed as cheating? Can I call it cheating? If I would have, let's say if I didn't think twice and I paid them 10 grand. Do you think cheating? I'm in desperate need of a job.
Yeah, Advocate Mayur Shukla and Mr. Daksh, they are saying it is internet phishing. Is it internet phishing?
It is phishing also, but can it be termed as cheating?
Yes, so many people are saying it. Imran Mubarak, Sudarshana Nandi, Shyamali Mitra, they are saying yes.
It's phishing from their end. Why? Because they are using a fake identity. But if I pay them, then it is cheating also. Because I also have, I lost money, no? There is this, something happened with me a couple of months back on Paytm. So I get a call from this guy that I wanted to sell a cycle. So they said, we saw that Ola ad and we wanted to buy that cycle and we want to pay you in advance. Like, okay. After a couple of calls, I receive a message on Facebook which says, this person is initiating a transaction of 2,500 rupees and down I have an option of pay or decline. And I'm wondering that if I have to receive advance from that person, why will it say pay? It should say accept, right? So had I paid, I would have lost 2,500. And I would have also become a victim of cheating. Do you think it falls under cheating? Just let's look in the regular definition of cheating. What is cheating under IPC? There is an intention of deceiving or to make a person deliver any property, right? That is what is cheating. So there was an intention to deceive.
Aditya, she is saying to hide something intentionally. That is cheating. She has tried to define it.
Yes, very good. So hiding is one form of cheating. But why I'm saying this offense is cheating is there was an intention inducing me to pay with a thing that they are going to receive, they are paying me. That is cheating. Do you think so? Am I right or am I wrong?
They are saying it is right. It's right.
Thank you. So next time, please beware of read before you send anything. Read before you sending money. Read everything which is happening. Otherwise, no use of. Otherwise, people will laugh at us. Being lawyers, we get duped. Next is 66E, punishment for violation of privacy. Why is privacy very important? Privacy is important because first, it's protected by my most important right, Article 21, most important constitutional right, Article 21. Privacy, why? Another reason privacy is important. It's my choice, right? What I want to share with the world, what I don't want to share, what is happening in my personal life is my personal life. It's nobody's business. So anybody who violates privacy of somebody with an intention or knowledge, they capture, publish, transmit image or video or anything without that person's consent is violation of privacy. I will give you an example. People who live in relationships, they make personal videos or they share personal videos with each other or pictures. If the other person is threatening them, not only is extortion, it is also violation of privacy, which is liable to be punished under Section 66E with 3 years and 2 lakh fine or both. Because the minute consent is not there and there is an intention of harm, intention, knowledge, fraudulent, dishonest, these are very important words. Then it becomes a violation of privacy. We will deal with privacy a little while later. I will tell you why is it not only important today, and it is very important to be going to be very important in future. And we need laws on this. We don't have them. This is the only section which is there. A few other sections here and there. But we need something to protect our data, and we need laws on privacy. Then 66F is cyber terrorism. What is cyber terrorism? Cyber terrorism is an intention to threaten the unity and integrity of the nation, sanctity, sovereignty of the nation, striking terror in people. How? Now the question is, we have understood what is intent, threatening the unity, sovereignty, sanction, security of the nation, striking terror in the nation. This is what. How is also what is important. Denying the cause or denial of the access to any person. Like there is a malware attack. Like there is a episode in Chicago Med. It's a series which is there on. It's a series which is there on Prime Video. So what happens in a hospital? There is a threat received that all the computers and systems are shut down. Think of it, if the hospital does not have its system working, how will the surgeries happen? How will the transactions happen? How will they know? Everything is so digitalized today that even unless and until you give a biometric, you can't open a door. If you can't open a door, then how do you go across the door? So just think, that when your entire system, in India also, a lot of hospitals are totally digitalized. So just think, when somebody attacks them through a malware or a Trojan horse, and all their systems are controlled by that person, that is a denial of access, because that the person who's causing the threat does not have access to it. Okay, he has forcefully gained access, climbing through their softwares, through their security measures, whatever they have taken, and gained access. So it's hacking, it's an unethical and unauthorized access, and it is also terrorism, because the intention is to cause wrongful and to strike terror in people. And in that episode, they showed why it happened was there because there was a celebrity who was having the surgery there, and they wanted to hamper that surgery. And they said, until and unless you give us Bitcoin for this much amount, we will not release your softwares. Okay. So next important ingredient is attempting to penetrate or access computer resource without authorization. I think this example will be covered by the episode I shared. Introducing or causing to introduce any computer contaminant. So, when they entered the malware into the system, that was introducing the computer contaminant. So if you ever see an email which is a very sad source, we're advised not to open that email. Why? Because there could be a virus in that email which can attack our systems. So that is also kind of a terrorism. And if it is happening at a public at large, let's say if it is happening in a very important office, like NIA, NASDAQ, or stock exchange offices, then this situation is to strike on the country. So or threat to the country. So that is called as cyber terrorism. It can cause death, injury, disruption of regular life. And I think we all know what could be the punishment for that. What is the punishment for sedition or treason? It's life imprisonment. You can't get anything less than that for messing with your country, right? Now the next is very important section is section 67. Punishment for transmitting obscene material in electronic form. What is obscene materials? Obscene is something which is not pleasing to the visual eye and which is sexually explicit in nature. So anybody who publishes it or transmits it through local media, through computer media or computer networks, with a lascivious appeals to prurient interest and tend to deprave or corrupt a person who are likely to read, see, and hear the matter. So, and I think I'll just explain it a bit. Let's say earlier, I gave you an example of the guy who was talking to the girl, and he had created a fake profile for her on an adult website. That was a very good example for this section. Okay, because it was creation of a fake profile for wrong interests, and anybody who would read, see, it would cause them injury. That would, I think, would be. You think I should give you? Do you want a better example?
Yes, ma'am. You can kindly give us one more example.
Okay. So let's see. A person, he morphs a small child's image for pornography purpose. That is also an example for this. Do we need more?
Ma'am, I think we can move forward, ma'am, because we have some time.
First conviction is 3 years with a fine of 5 lakhs. Next conviction is 5 years with a second or subsequent conviction will be imprisoned with 5 years with 10 lakh fine or both. Okay. Now, section 67A is punishment for publishing or transmitting material containing sexually explicit act in an electronic form. It's very self-explanatory. If somebody is publishing or transmitting any image which is sexually explicit, then it gets punished with 5 years with 10 lakh fine, or second conviction is 7 years with 10 lakh fine. Punishment for publishing, 67B, is punishment for publishing or transmission of material depiction of children in sexually explicit act in an electronic form. So anybody who publishes or transmits, create text or digital image, cultivates, entices, or induces children, facilitating abuse children online, recording it in electronic form, and others on for penetrating. The first conviction is 5 years with 10 lakh fine. 7 years with 10 lakh fine is the second imprisonment. 67B, we will come back on this section after there is a case which we will discuss, and we will discuss this section again with that case. Okay. Section 67C, preservation and retention of information by intermediaries. This is also an important section. Section 70 is access to protected systems. Not everybody has access to protected systems. Like if you go to CBI and they're all of, or any regular office, all the offices, every system is password protected. Until and unless you enter your password, you cannot enter the system. You cannot see what is there on somebody's system. So this is kind of a protection to that. Section 72 is breach of confidentiality and privacy. Section 74 is publication for fraudulent purposes. And that is it. Then we, ma'am, can we move on to the next slide? Then we move on to IPC. In IPC, we have section 354D, which talks about stalking. Anybody who follows a woman or attempts to contact with her for fostering a personal interaction, monitoring use of internet, email, or other form of communication. This is punished by 3 years or fine on conviction. Section 463, which is forgery, making of false documents or false electronic record, intention to cause injury. Then 463 is a defining section. It's punished under section 465 with 2 years and fine or both. Then for section, I have few more sections. Then we have section 378, which is on theft. In the cases where there is cases of data theft or something, they can also be penalized under section 378. So since section, there is a debate happening whether the 378 corporeal and movable property, can that be taken as a property? But in some cases it has. So we all know it's punished by 3 years with fine or both. Section 424 is dishonestly or fraudulently concealing or removing any property, or whoever assisting also. So concealing or removing any property, again, this property word, movable, it's all movable property crimes. So property here is as also defined under section 22 of the Act. So here property means anything which is not fastened to earth, as we all know. So there, in some cases where Information Technology Act is not very vocal about what is happening. So IPC is also, property is also construed as property online. So whatever data you have on Facebook, which is yours, your photos, your videos, your chats, these are all your data, right? So anybody who makes an attempt to steal it will be punished by data theft. And what is the punishment for that? 2 years or fine or both. Then 425 defines mischief. Mischief is intent to cause wrongful loss or damage any personal property, or change any situation to diminish the value of or utility of that property. That is also, if you correlate it with IT Act, then the sections which dealing with damaging of computer system or denying access, when a person is booked under the Act, they are also booked under 425. So punishment is under section 426, 3 years, fine or both. The other sections are section 463, we have already taken care of 463 and 465. Then 477, use of forged documents or electronic record as genuine. So we know, somebody knows that, this is a forged document, this is not an original document. So let's say there was a scanned document of somebody which A shared with B for some personal purpose. So B takes out colored printout of that and changes certain thing and then photocopies it and then uses it. So B knows that it's a forged document and B is using that forged document. He's digitally altering it and then he's using it. So that is also a forgery and it is also punishable. Then defamation, we did cyber defamation earlier, right? So cyber defamation is not defined anywhere and it's not punished anywhere. So it's defined under IPC only and it is punished also under IPC under 499 and 500 with an imprisonment of 2 years and fine or both. And when it is through a word or gesture or an intention to insult the modesty of a woman, then it is done under section 509 with imprisonment for 1 year or both. There are certain acts when it is involved when children are involved, then there is an act called as prevention of sexual offences called as POSCO Act. So POSCO Act deals with section 14 and 15, where use of a child for pornographic purposes, which is imprisoned with 5 years plus fine. And if any data is stored with a person, then storage of a pornographic data is also, but then there should be an intention of distributing that data or making a commercial or viewing it for somebody else also, that is also punishable with 3 years or fine or both. Can we have next slide, please? Ma'am? Yeah. Now, what is important is what to do. Do we need any more explanation on anything on our rights or laws, or should I move on? You can just raise your hand. I can see raised hands here.
Ma'am, we can move on because okay. I think there are some time restraints as well.
Okay. I already crossed time. I'm so sorry. So what should we do? A person has an option of contact. You can make a complaint on your nearest police station or a national crime reporting cybercrime cell, that is cybercrime.gov.in. That is also on your screen. You can go to your nearest police station, or national. If it's for women, you can also go to National Commission for Women. There is a CCPW scheme which is launched by the Government of India, where you can, even if you go to National Commission Women and file a complaint, then you can, ma'am, there is a request for sharing the PPT. Please share the PPT after the session.
Sure, ma'am, we'll do that.
Thank you. So the complaint would automatically be turned into FIR, will be, and it will take its the course which is there, like a regular crime. It's done. The only difference is investigation of the crime, which is done by the cyber cell. So what? Let's see what you need. So for filing a complaint, you would need a soft copy or hard copy. Let's say if there is a domain name or a defamation of a domain name. So previous and after, like what was it earlier or what was it after? You just need those two, and you can just give it with the complaint or whatever data you have. Like I gave an example of that girl who was involved in the case of Sextortion. So we had advised her, whatever data you have, the chats when this guy pressurized you for some money, video recordings, whatever you have, just give it to the police and file a proper FIR. Or she also has an option of going to any National Commission for Women or any crime cell and report. Otherwise, if you don't have an option of going there, you can always make an online complaint to cybercrime.gov.in. There are data, they do it and they track it very nicely. Ma'am, can we have the next slide, please? There are some international laws also. There are these list of international laws, and this is just for your knowledge that these sections are also there. They all talk about creating your rights, which are already enshrined in your constitutional rights and legal rights. Okay. So like Article 12 under Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 8 of European Convention of Human Rights 1950, Article 17 of International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, Article 11 of American Convention of Human Rights 1969, right to special protection of children, Article 24 of International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights in 66, Article 10.3 of International Covenant of Economic and Social Cultural Rights of 1966, Article 19 of American Convention of Human Rights, Article 19 of American Convention of Human Rights, Article 3 of United Nations Conventions. Ma'am, please, next slide. Ma'am, I think screen is frozen. Amrita, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, we are trying, ma'am. We are trying.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I think it is now done.
Yeah, so there are a lot of conventions also. Like there is a General Data Protection Convention, which was implemented by Europe to protect data privacy. Ma'am, can you scroll down a little below on the slide? There is an OECD guidelines that is OECD is basically more related to economic offenses, but it also has guidelines for protection of privacy. It was first launched in 1980, and then it was also revised in 2013. And they talk about data protection principles and laws. Ma'am, can we have the next slide? Okay, so before we go on to what are the awarenesses, we also need to understand what, as a society, what we look at. See, all the crimes that happen at three levels: personal, societal, and national. And they're either against a person, property, and government at large, or public at large, right? So when they're happening against government, it's always public at large also. So first we need to have awareness at all levels. At all levels, I mean, not only, see, today, because of lockdown, even a rickshawala or a person who's in a very remote village in Bihar, like Sitamarhi or something, they also need to have a phone, smartphone. But having a smartphone does not solve the purpose. You also need to have a knowledge on how to be secured on a smartphone. Because smartphone is also very can also be very deadly weapon in the if it's in the hands of a wrong person, or if you happen to give an access to a wrong person. Okay, so for that, awareness is very important. Then, as I said, rural population also needs to be educated also and aware also. How? There are a lot of organization, national NGOs who are already doing it, and there is also other thing which we can do. We can reach out to our local communities, local NGOs to give them cyber awareness. The cyber awareness is already there, available on the cybercrime website, which I already shared. If you open the website, it's there. The awareness is there. I have culled out the main points which are there on the website, on the PPT, but you also find it on their website. Acceptance of society towards victims. What happens there was a very famous case of boys locker. In that case, what happened was some boys took images of minor girls, changed them in a sexual, having a sexual connotation, and it was transmitted all across. So Delhi Council for Women took cognizance of that. Case was lodged, case was made out. But while it was all happening, a boy lost his life. Why? Because he was also, because somebody thought that, a girl made a statement that this boy has is a culprit and has used my information in a wrong manner. The boy got so much media trial, so much hatred that he could not live with it, because he was innocent, though he was innocent, but he lost his life. So, we need to have a responsible media sharing knowledge. At the same time, we need to be acceptive towards of it, not only towards the victims, because a lot of time people say that, victim, she was wrong, that's why it happened. When I told you that case of sextortion, there could also have been a view where people said, why should she share her pictures with somebody? But the question is not that. The question is actually, without her consent, if somebody is using it in the wrong sense, it's not wrong to share it with somebody. The thing which is wrong is criminal usage of it or wrong usage of it. So, society needs to be a little more acceptance, not only towards victims, but also towards the offenders also. There could be something wrong with somebody's brain, that's why it's happening. So, and sometimes, as I said, the innocent guy also got, he also lost his life. So it was, so acceptance is really important. Helping each other. If if a friend knows that, my friend is going on a wrong path or he's doing something wrong. So rather than, going on a separate path, try helping him, try talking to him. And if it's not helping, try to talk to his parents, try to talk to somebody. Counseling is very important. Counseling in schools, counseling in workplaces, counseling in, our societies in general, where we live. somebody you can talk to, which is very important, because a lot of people, since lockdown, it's been noticed that mental health issues are really growing, and we need a lot of mental awareness and a lot of counseling, kindness towards people to deal with it. Has anybody, for my next point, I would ask you, do you have anybody seen Chak De? If you remember the World Tournament, Bindya, one of the senior hockey players, was asked to, yeah, I see raised hands. So Bindya was asked to go and do the buddy method for breaking the South Korea team, because South Korea had this thing that everybody, against each player, once against each India player, South Korean player was also there, so that the Indian player could not go or pass the ball to the next Indian player. So for breaking that buddyship which between India and South Korea, Bindya and her co-partner, I don't remember her name, had a very unique way of communicating with each other, and goals were made with a lot of ease. So if we just take that buddy, the concept of that having a buddy is what? A friend. So, if a new child comes in school, or you think that a child is lonely, schools should attach another, maybe it's a forced friendship, but be a little kind, be a little accepting, share a lot of love with people. And, if you think, if you see somebody of that nature, you can actually be a buddy to them and try to be more open with people, converse more. A lot of these issues get resolved by conversation. And we also need a seamless mechanism, because that is an administration, we can't do anything about it. But I believe these are the things that we require. Can we have the next slide? I have already told you what is the boys' locker case. I would also tell you so let's discuss this case a little bit more. So what happened then was that when the media and these images and the remarks on these images were going around, so Delhi Commission for Women said to the Delhi police that you should take cognizance. So Delhi Police Cybercrime Cell took a cognizance suo motu on this matter. And what all sections they were booked in, let's see: 465, 471, 469, 509, 67, and 67A. Since these were a lot of these girls were minors also, so 67B was also there. Do we need to spend more time on the case, or should we next move on to the next slide? It's called Boys Locker case. BOIS Locker, LOCKER case. Okay, now there is a CCPW scheme which was introduced by Ministry of Home Affairs. Ministry of Home Affairs is what takes care of our security. And they made an expert group of National Security Council Secretariat called as NCS, Ministry of Home Affairs, CDAC, Certain, Institute of Technology, IIT, Indian Institute of Sciences, and all IT experts for studying the gaps in the mechanism and preparing a roadmap for future. This happened in 2017. Okay, so a scheme which was called as Cybercrime Prevention Against Women and Children scheme was formulated, and it is so now this scheme talks about that seamless thing I was telling you. There are a lot of crimes which happen. You go like in Domestic Violence Act, you have to go to you can either file a complaint in the Domestic Violence Cell, or you can also file a complaint under in National Commission for Women. But when you file a complaint in National Commission for Women, it does not automatically translate into a complaint. A police officer does investigate it, but you have to chase it. So this chasing scenario is done away with this method. So any complaint which comes into NCW would directly follow its path. Okay, then there is a monitoring unit also which actually see whether what happens with the complaints which are received through different channels, and whether they are actually translating it or not, or whether they are what is happening to that complaint. So there is a complaint cell, and there is a monitoring unit. Next slide, please. So these are just certain things which are there as a part of this CCPW scheme. It has received this 87 crores grant. Police officer, judicial officers, and Twitter handle, and there is a center for research and development also to promote this, because as I said, we don't have a lot of infrastructure to deal with cybercrime. If the cybercrime is at this level, our infrastructure level, so we need to meet the gap, and this scheme is to deal with this gap. Ma'am, next slide, please. So now we talk about the awareness. So what is okay? So we will be dealing with awareness on two levels: one with children, one with adults, because both are different sectors, and we need to do it sensitively on both the sectors. So for children, you should have parental controls. You should see what your children are watching online. If it's better if you watch it with them, but if you can't, at least monitor their activities. Have parental controls. Parental controls are controls which you can put on Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, so that your children are not able to view contents which are prohibited or which you don't think are good for their age. Like for a 6-year child, you think that this is not a proper thing to watch, so you put a parental control on that. So your 6-year-old child will only be watch content which is good for his age. Okay, you should always keep a track on their online activities. I know how much busy you are on working women or parents. You should see what your children are doing. You should spend more time talking to them. Have a group activity with children so they know their friends, know their peers. Have some time on a daily basis where you give us non-judgmental space to your children, where your children can speak anything with you, but you do not give reactions at that time. No angry reactions at that time, otherwise your children will not speak to you. You should be attuned to their behavior. Means if you see that there is any changes in their behavior, so keep reading about it so you can understand. There are a lot of articles which keep going on and on over social media, so be aware about it. And how can you protect your children through cyber grooming, which is a very big threat for the children? There was an episode on cyber, one of the crime series I watched, where a child was there was a 16-year-old boy who the girl had a crush on. Somebody got to know about it, and he chatted with that girl on a fake profile, groomed her so much, and the girl was ready to go against lying to her parents and everything to go with that guy on for an outdoor trip for 2 days, and she lied to her parents that she's going for a sleepover with some of her friends. So because her parents did not have a very healthy relationship with her, they did not talk to each other every day, the girl, or even if she was going to the friend's house, at least the parents could have called the friend and found out whether it was within the time. We can't always have option of, so you should also educate your children. Never click on suspicious links. Cover the webcams when they are not in use. And install the virus software for the parental control. Keep your softwares updated. And you should always have a virus protection system on your laptops or whatever devices you're using. And you should always secure your browser settings. Ma'am, next one. So just like this is for teen and adults, and this is very important for us. Ma'am, when ma'am shared, please read it. I will be browsing it very quickly. through it, because we have time constraint. I have already exceeded time by 1 hour 30 minutes. So if you have selected right settings, there is option of on Facebook for locking your profile. You can do that. Do not keep your pictures and all your data for public viewing or public downloading. You have options of restricting that. Whenever you are on chat or video calls, be mindful of your appearance. Without your knowledge, the other person might be recording it. Ma'am, next slide. If somebody is feeling you and making you uncomfortable, you can block them. You should secure your phone. Should know how to. You should know how you should secure it. And there are always security and privacy settings on all the social media profiles. You should know how to spend some time, Google it on how you can do it and do it better. Okay, ma'am, next slide, please. So when you're using for your smartphones, if you're using digital storage, always be very mindful of sharing your passwords. Actually, you should not share your passwords at all. But if you're sharing your content with somebody, please limit it. How you're doing it on the cloud storage, and pictures, videos, something which is not necessary to be there, please delete it. Sometimes I had seen that people keep their a lot of personal pictures on their cloud spaces, and people can hack it. Pedophiles and criminals can hack it without your knowledge also. So it is not advised to keep it very personal pictures on digital storages, or either otherwise also. You should not. You should have spam settings on your emails. Do not open mails from suspicious, which have suspicious things. If someone has taken a photograph using a smartphone, then take it seriously and get it deleted. When there is need to talk to an elder, get it reported. You should protect all your communication devices, whether it's Play Store, App Store, iTunes, company website. See, whenever you download a software, there is always an option of notifications, gaining access to your contacts, gaining access to your photos. Mostly people hit allow on that. You should not hit allow on that. You should deny them, because you do not know what kind of software is doing what. A lot of softwares are using your sensitive data for their purposes. This is a crime. This is against data protection. And sometimes you don't know what kind of software you're downloading. It might not be the correct software. Somebody told you just download Zoom. There could be two Zoom. There could be Zoom with Z-O-O-M. There could be Z-triple-O-M. In hurry, you did not see and you downloaded the wrong one. So your entire system is gone. Right? Ma'am, next slide. Future challenges. We do not have laws on data privacy and data protection. And in future, there are a lot of websites, there are a lot of organizations which are dealing with what might happen post-COVID era. And as per them, it's just said that there could be a cost of data breach, which could cost us 5 trillion and 70% rise in the crime. So when there is a crime, there would be a monetary losses also. So 70% cybercrime, if it's increased, that could result in huge amounts of losses for protecting your data breach. So, and today, like with artificial intelligence taking over a lot of sectors, there could be more malware attacks, Trojan attacks, cyber attacks, which can cost, again, protection for that is costing us money. And if there is an attack, that would also cost us a lot of money. Intellectual property can be also misused for mischief and monetary gain. There can be a lot of sophisticated cyber crimes like bitcoins, cryptojacking, crypto mining. Cryptocurrency is a currency, or it's a platform it is kind of a platform which is created online world which access to internet transactions, and the payment is made in bitcoins. Bitcoins is mined money through online channels through a code. Okay, so when that is happening illegally, that is called crypto mining. When Bitcoin unauthorized mining of bitcoins is happening, that is crypto mining, and a long term of that is also crypto jacking. And this all happens on dark web. Okay, there are websites in the dark web which takes care of which gives access to pedophiles to porn websites of children, and they are paid through bitcoins. And this is impossible for the cyber forensic experts to track them, because it's all, when you say dark web, it's impossible to trace their digital footprints. If you need, now I'm almost done, so if you need more explanation on this, please ask your questions. Okay, so before I finish, I have reached end of my but since the topic here was women empowerment, I hope I have done justice to the topic. And if at all, in practice, I would just deal with women in practice today, because I'm also a practicing lawyer. I see today, as I graduated 11 years back, when I graduated, there were a handful of senior advocates. There were Justice Jyoti Singh, Rebecca John, and few others. Justice Geeta Mittal was also a judge. Very few judges. Like if there are 20 judges, male judges, there are only 5 female judges. If there are 20 senior advocates elevated through a court, there are only 1 or 2 lady senior advocates. If there are 10 counsels arguing, there will be 1 lady counsel in that matter. We need more women presence. What happens, I have seen, after having a family life, women back down from practice for any reason. So I would really expect more women to come up, because you are educated. Use your education. You don't need to practice law. You can use it for any purpose. Just use your education. And I don't, though the theme is women empowerment, I don't think women need to be empowered. See, universe has blessed women with ability of love, procreation, creation, molding present and future. You do that when you bring up your child. You look after your family. You teach. Teacher is a very important aspect. When you mentor somebody, or when you are mother, sister, wife, you're doing something of the other nature of this, in all aspects of life. So I don't think women need to be empowered. I don't think women need to seek inspiration outside. I think you're already empowered. You're educated, you're independent, you're already empowered. There is a very favorite book of mine called, written by a very revolutionary author during the Second World War time, called as Ayn Rand. She was Russian. And the book's name is Fountainhead. The quote from the book goes as, the question isn't who is going to let me. The question is who is going to stop me. It means, by making, if I can work after marriage, you're not giving me permission to work. It is my right. I have studied for it. So if you're getting education, it's your right. Remember? Article 21A. So I don't think you need to be empowered. You're already empowered. You don't need to be inspired. You don't need to seek inspiration outside. You're already inspired. Thank you. And thanks for this opportunity. I'm really sorry for taking so much time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving that wonderful lecture. And I think I just want to second your thought that women are already empowered. So no doubt we all are empowered, and it is the multitasking that we do. The only thing that I want to share on my personal end is that now we are being recognized that yes, we are. so much capable of doing so many things at a time. So indeed, ma'am, I just second your thought. I totally support it, and thank you for giving such a wonderful session, an interactive session. Our participants had enjoyed a lot. But as we move forward, ma'am, we have a question answer session. But since we are exceeding our time limit, so I'll just take up only few. So if you can allow me to just take a few.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the first question has been asked by Saima. She is asking, how can you monitor your child taking into consideration their personal gap and freedom?
What is the age of the child?
I think that would be a minor. That's why she is asking.
See, if the child is minor, they can be between age from 5 to 15, 19, right? So if they're anything under 10, you can monitor as with a lot of awareness suggestions that I gave. But if your child is a teenager, the best monitoring you can give is to educate them with what is happening around the world in the best possible manner. You should also see every child is different. Every child innocence level is different. I would not say that you should, give them the gory details in the sense, share each and every bad thing that is happening, but give them an idea of what is happening. Like when we were in school, we were not given education as to when should we say no. But today in schools, my child is 3 years old, okay, and we have given him education of good touch and bad touch. And I didn't know, I wasn't taught good touch and bad touch. So, but see, what is the need of the hour is to get them educated and get them aware. So you need to be, as I said, you need to be attuned to your child, no matter what you're working, what is your job. But we all share a lot of time with our phones. Take this away and talk to your child. The more you are, don't scold your child, have a conversation with your child. When you become their friend, one of my friend's father was so cool that he actually had drink with him for the first time with his father. So I'm not saying that you do something like that. I am saying that give the child the space where they can be communicative with you without fear. The day you create that environment with your child, I think, and educate them and tell them, this is what is content is there. Show them the bad content, on the picture. Don't show them the entire video. Show them the content and why it is bad. Have a conversation. When you tell the child that this is wrong, the child is bound to do it. When you tell the child why it is wrong, explain them good, bad. It would take few days, it might take months, it might take a year, but you have to spend it with your child. I think they deserve it.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the answer. Another question is by Tanmay Sharma. He is asking, what are the measures to avoid privacy in cyber laws?
Okay, see, on Facebook, you have an option of locking your profile. Okay. On Insta also, you have similar settings. So if you go on privacy settings, you can, there are a lot of privacy settings. So you have to Google on each social media platform how you can install how you can activate privacy settings, and you can do it like that. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. I think the question has been answered. Another question is by Mr. Verma. He is asking, does the international law in any way affect the local cybercrime laws or IPC?
Mr. Verma, sorry, ma'am, to go back to the last question, just 1 second.
Yeah,
videos and your personal pictures also should also have privacy settings. You should also look into that. And coming back to Mr. Verma's question, Mr. Verma, because of GDPR, that is General Laws on Privacy, we have a bill which is tabled in the Parliament called as Data Privacy Law, and we are waiting for it to be passed. And yes, the international laws and international conventions that we are party to, or they are there, also creates a pressure on the countries to have better cyber laws to meet the crime challenges, the challenges which are posed by the crime.
Thank you, ma'am. I think he has received his answer. Another question is by Mr. Mahendra Kumar. He is asking, police and judiciary face a big challenge in dealing with cyber cases as sometimes they are not updated with new technology. How to overcome with these problems?
So that is one of the challenges that we are facing today, because one, they are also humans, and they are also, they are also not that well educated. And the CCPW scheme that I spoke about, the only reason of speaking about that scheme is that we are the country is aware of the problem, and we are dealing with it. But obviously, we are thrown into a situation we can't deal it with so effectively just now, because we also have to understand that we keep comparing our country to the countries abroad, but those countries do not have so much population as we have. So we have to do everything and our country has much more challenges. They don't have poverty such a big challenge as we have. So we also have to look at that challenges, as much as we talk about police, but if we take care of our own precautions, then I think we can save ourselves a lot of agony and stress.
Thank you, ma'am. One question is by Mr. Imran. He's asking, can Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, can they be surveilled by government for protecting women's modesty?
Yes, there was a very famous case where Facebook was penalized for the same reason, because if you know that Facebook was sharing their data, so Facebook was penalized, and Mark Zuckerberg had to face huge fine for that to the US government.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Another question is by our YouTube viewer, Ms. Aarti Mishra. She is asking whether email communication is accepted as an evidence in the court, and any conditions for the same.
Ma'am, it is acceptable evidence. You have to give also an affidavit of 65B. Again, it depends what kind of evidence, but it is an accepted evidence. You have to give an affidavit of Section 65B under Evidence Act, along with the printout of the. What happens in the affidavit? In affidavit, you tell the story. So you say that email has been taken from a computer which I only use. So something like that is what is Section 65B says. And yes, it can be accepted as an evidence.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. One question is by Mr. Prakash Kumar. He's asking, ma'am, if cyber law is so foolproof and intact, then why quantum of crimes is increasing day by day, even in post-vivid scenario? And where are the loopholes? What is your expert opinion?
Sir, I never said that cyber laws are so extensive. In fact, in the beginning, when I was talking about cyber laws, my first thing was that there are so many gaps. We need a lot of improved mechanism. See, we have to understand we were not ready for internet, which came as it may. If you remember, if you were born in 90s, or if you remember anybody talking about 90s, we received that education about internet in cyber cafes. In schools, we were only taught about MS Word and some topics, and it's only later that we understood what is cyber law, what threats cyber law is protecting, and we are doing everything. The system is doing everything it can. They're not doing it, but it would take some time to understand the challenges.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. One last question is by Mr. Ashish Varshane. He is asking whether all these sections like Section 66, 67A, 67B of the IT Act are bailable offense or non-bailable offense. And
some of it is.
Ma'am, should I complete that question?
Yeah, so sorry.
It's okay, ma'am. So, and he's asking that whether anticipatory bail can be taken in these offenses. That is what he's asking.
Okay, so there are certain views on that. In some sections under IT Act are bailable and non-compoundable, or non-bailable and compoundable, and under IPC they're not. So when there is a when there is a conflict between IPC and IT Act, so mostly IT Act prevails, or when the law does not, when IT Act does not define it, then IPC prevails. So the first question to be answered would be which act would prevail. IPC or IT Act, or they would be conducive. So accordingly, it would be bailable or non-bailable, compoundable or non-compoundable, plus anticipatory bail. If it's bailable offense, yes, anticipatory bail can be given. But I don't think there are then the principles of anticipatory bail will be applicable.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for patiently answering those questions. We would have taken more, but I think we have exceeded a lot of the time that we have already allotted. So I'll just try to end the session here. And thank you so much, ma'am, once again for accepting the request of KLE College of Law, Navi Mumbai, and coming and gracing the session. Thank you so much, ma'am. And now I would request.
Opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. And now I would request our student Bhumika Patel to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
You can also ask viewers to send their questions on the YouTube link. We can try answering it from there if some questions are not answered.
Sure, ma'am. Yes, it's a request to all the participants. You can post your questions to the our YouTube channel. We will be conveying it to ma'am, and she will be answering the questions. Thank you so much, dear participants, for being so patient and being with us. So, Bhumika, now it's over to you for the vote of thanks.
It gives me immense pleasure to propose this vote of thanks on behalf of the esteemed institution, KLE Societies, KLE College of Law, Navi Mumbai, for this event. I would like to express my gratitude and heartfelt thanks to Advocate Richa Bharadwaj ma'am, who despite her busy schedule has found to time honor the session with inspirational thoughts and educating all of us with such an informative session. Thank you so much, ma'am, for making this webinar very interesting. We gain a lot from you today. I would also take privilege to thank the respected members of KLE management, Dr. Prabhakar Kore sir, Chairman, KLE Society, Mr. Mahantesh Kavadgimat sir, Governing Body Chairman, KLE College of Law and MLC and Chief Whip, Government of Karnataka, Dr. Malikar Junaiya sir, Principal, KLE Law College, Bangalore, and Director, KLE Law Academy, Bangalore, and our respected Principal sir, Professor Dinkar Gite sir, for the blessings and guidance. I would also like to thank our teachers, Dr. Amrita Singh ma'am, Dr. Pooja Bijargi ma'am, Professor Sri Vidya ma'am, and Professor Salim Khan sir. And big thanks to our student conveners, Shara and Apsara, and the whole webinar team on their continuous support throughout this webinar. And last but not the least, I express my gratitude to all our participants who attended a webinar in a huge numbers and make them a grand success. Thank you one and all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bhumika, for that vote of thanks. And once again, thank you, Richa ma'am, for accepting our request. And once again, our principal sir has conveyed his regards to you, because both you and principal sir, they are alumni of the DES Law College, Pune. So he wished a lot to join, but due to some network issue, he couldn't join. So he has again sent warm regards to you, and hope he will be seeing you in the college once the lockdown opens.
Very thanks a lot. We will surely meet. Thank you.
So with this, we'll end the meeting. Thank you very much. All the dear participants, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you.